Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to another edition of Player Ratings. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And I tell you what, it was a nervy one on Thursday night in the Europa Conference League against Servette. Chelsea actually losing 2-1, but scraping through 3-2 on aggregate. And yeah, we got away with one. Ultimately, we did what we needed to do in terms of we went through. But yeah, it was an embarrassing performance. And the only positive from it was the fact that we actually made it through to the next round. A lot of things not to like: poor defending. Midfield didn't look particularly great. Not amazing going forward. Joey missed a few opportunities here and there, but we absolutely got away with one. And we can count ourselves lucky that we're in the draw. But let's dive into the ratings. And obviously, a few changes from the lineup from the Wolves win, as we expected. The likes of Renato Vega starting, Guiu playing, Madueke and Mudryk flanking him either side. Dewsbury Hall getting another start. Tosin, Badiashile, Disasi all playing, Jorgensen in. So a number of changes, but a team that was more than good enough to beat Servette. So yeah, really disappointing performance. But let's not dwell on it too much. Let's push on into these ratings then. And let's start with Philip Jorgensen. Yeah, a mixed bag, really. He made a couple of decent saves. But what was he doing for that second goal from Servette? He could have easily saved that. He should have done a lot better with it. Completely lost his bearings for that second goal. But it was a reasonably solid outing from him. But I think in Maresca's mind, he's probably going to have to do a lot more if he's going to displace Robert Sanchez from that number one slot, which does sound like a mad thing to say because he probably should be displacing him. But yeah, losing your bearings like that for the second goal is not ideal. It was very much the mixed bag from Jorgensen. I think he was better than average. I'd go the 5.5 for Jorgensen. We are going to need to see a little bit better from him, but I think his opportunities are going to be at the moment Conference League and then early rounds of the domestic cups right now, unless Sanchez's form completely falls off a cliff. So a 5.5 for Philip Jorgensen. Moving on to the back line then. Obviously, we had Axel Disasi kind of right back. I mean, there are a few positives, but he still struggles in the really important moments. What was he doing for that first Servette goal? He was stranded. He got shrugged off the ball so easily. That was really concerning. For a guy that's a big unit, just getting brushed aside like that for that first Servette goal was a big problem. As I said, pivotal moments, he does struggle. And look, I don't think Chelsea are going to get an offer for him before the transfer window closes or anything, but he is someone that is clearly not a big part of the plans. Pretty much, I wouldn't say surplus to requirements entirely, but he's not going to get an awful lot of minutes this season. And yeah, he was just average and once again found wanting in the really key moments of the game, which is not what you want from your defenders. Not what you want from your defenders at all. So for me, the Sassy, average 5. Moving on to Tosin then. In fairness to Tosin, he was pretty solid for most of the game. But again, that second goal, where was he? The guy's 6'5", for fuck's sake. And he's getting easily beaten in the air for that second goal. That shouldn't be happening. Free header in the 6-yard box, pretty much. That should not be happening. But again, his opportunities are probably going to only be in the Conference League and the Cup right now. And he's probably going to have to do a little bit better than that, if we're being totally honest here. So solid for much of the contest, as I said, but really poor defending for the goal. And it's going to need to do better. So for me, yes, better than Disasi. I'd go 5.5. Badiashile. I don't know what's happened to this guy. I don't know what has happened to this guy. He was brilliant the first 6 months he came in. Long-term injury at the end of that first 6 months. And then he really struggled last season to get his form back, making a lot of mistakes. And that's very much continued through pre-season and into the start of this season. Again, caught flat-footed for that second Servette goal. Leaves too much space around him way too often. And I don't know what's happened to him. I really don't, because I really thought he was a top player. But he's really struggling right now, not, performing to the required level you would expect from a Chelsea player. And yeah, it is very, very problematic, his form right now. And he is very much going to be a squad player that is not going to see an awful lot of Premier League action based on what we have seen so far. So for me, Badiashile, probably the worst of the lot. I'd give him probably a 4.5. That might be a little bit harsh, or 4.5, I think I'll go with for Badiashile. Vega, Okay, not one of his better games. He was all right. He looks powerful on the ball. He looks strong on the ball. But again, for that cross for the goal, he was nowhere. Where was he for that cross? He's a young kid. He's going to get better. I like his attitude. I like his mentality. And these are things that will improve. But yeah, I think just an average display from him, in my opinion. And I think he'll be a good signing, and he'll be a useful member of the squad, and he'll obviously get better and develop. But last night in that game, yeah, I think probably an average 5 is fair for Renato Vega. We saw Enzo Fernandez starting, captaining the side again. He was create a creative force. Passing from deep was very good again. He's still too loose off the ball, especially from a positional standpoint. Essentially, you're playing a 4-1-4-1. His defensive capabilities are not great, not great. And obviously, without Romeo Lavia, he needs to sharpen up tactically. Again, weak for that first Servette goal. Could have easily, lost the challenge in the centre of the park, which led to it. That was weak there. And yeah, he's got to switch on a bit further. Yes, no, Chelsea probably prefer to deploy him a little bit further up, maybe in that number 8 role, rather than being like the only sort of out and out midfielder in the side like he was in this game. But it wasn't awful, but it definitely could have done better for that first goal to stop the attack. And as I said, off the ball tactically, he needs to do a lot better. But this wasn't awful. I'd say a 6 out of 10 for him. Moving on to Dewsbury Hall then. This was okay. It's nice moments, some good energy, works hard. And look, he's got quality, he has got quality. But you can clearly see that he's still finding his feet in this side. He's still getting used to it. He's still obviously adjusting to stepping up a level. And there were some nice things from Dewsbury, some good runs off the ball, some good stuff on it. Obviously, a few things that weren't great either, but this was an okay performance. And I think this is what we're going to get from Dewsbury Hall. He's going to start most Conference League games. He'll get minutes here and there in the Premier League. He knows Maresca's system. And yeah, there's going to need to be an improvement in quality, but I think he will step up, and I think he will be all right for us this season. But last night's showing, I'd probably say a 5.5 out of 10 for Dewsbury Hall. Moving on to Madueke, and it was a big day for him. Obviously called up to the England squad as well, off the back of that hat-trick against Wolves. Obviously didn't have quite as good a game. He still looks sharp, hungry, and everything is in place for him to have a really, really good season. The Servette game didn't really have too much. A few little bits here and there on the ball, couple of opportunities on goal. This was just kind of average from him. I'd give him a 6. Nothing terrible, but nothing stand out either from Madueke. Moving on to Christopher Nkunku. Really important. Without his 2 penalties, we would have been fucked in this tie. We could well be out of the Conference League in the qualifiers. Brilliant penalty. And that was really crucial in the circumstances. But I'm not concerned about his quality at all. But what I would say is that over these first 4 games, yes, the 2 penalties, have been really important for us. But in terms of impact on the pitch, there's not been a huge impact. We're still waiting to sort of get a little bit of a lift off from Nkunku, and sort of waiting for him to kind of announce it to everyone that he's arrived. I'm sure that will come over the course of the season. But yeah, it's been a quiet start for sure. Really good pre-season, but it's been a bit of a quiet start to the campaign in terms of making an impact in the games that we've had so far. I'm sure Maresca's still load managing, still building his minutes up, building his fitness up after all the injury issues. I don't think we're going to have problems with Nkunku. I think he's going to have a really good season. But yeah, apart from the penalty, which of course was really important, this was fairly average. So I think, again, with Nkunku, I'd give him a 6, but we do need to see more, and I'm confident that we will see more. Moving on to Mudryk then. Third start in a row, by the way. Really good awareness and sharpness for the penalty, to seize on that indecisiveness. Struggled at times to find his way, but there were some good moments from him in the game. Blistering pace, a great run from inside the Chelsea half. Couldn't quite apply the finish. Obviously, he's under pressure to perform. Yes, Maresca has spoken publicly about his performances a couple of times in the press conference, but this was better from Mudryk. By no means amazing, but this was a lot better. Some good moments from him, and I would probably say it's a 6 out of 10 for Mykhailo Mudryk. Moving on to Mark Guiu then, who was leading the line. He pressed really hard. You know, he always works hard. He presses from the front. But he did struggle to lead the line. For sure, he struggled to lead the line, which is to be expected for an 18-year-old who hasn't got an awful lot of experience. That first Servette goal, it was him that lost possession cheaply, which led to the goal. And if I'm being honest, he could probably do with a loan going and playing regular first-team football. I just don't know if there's enough time for that to happen. And if another striker comes in at Chelsea, how many opportunities he's actually really going to get. So those would be my concerns about Guiu. But look, not terrible, but I just think average and kind of struggled to implement himself on the game. So I'd give Guiu a 5 out of 10. In terms of the subs, obviously we had Madueke, obviously we had Caicedo, I think Tyreek George came on, Nicholas Jackson came on, and Palmer came on towards the end as well. Not really enough time to say too much about the subs, but I thought it was great to see Tyreek George make his debut for the club. He looked bright, he looked intelligent on the ball, I felt. And maybe, hopefully, we can see him get a few more opportunities in games like this. Obviously, Jackson spurned a couple of really good chances to kill the game off late on. He scored a goal, had the ball in the back of the net, but it was offside. Pretty standard these days with Jackson. Yeah, and Palmer should have maybe scored when he hit the crossbar. But other than that, there wasn't too much impact from the bench. But guys, those are my ratings for the Servette game. As I said, not too many positives other than the fact that we're through. We put this game behind us. We move on to Palace on Sunday. Let me know your thoughts, guys. As always, smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and we'll catch you again in another one soon. Up the Chelsea, and peace.